The post office scandal reached a new low yesterday when its chief executive admitted victims' money could have ended up in executives' pay packages. Meanwhile, a Fujitsu executive finally apologised and said it would contribute to the redress scheme.
Yeah, said it was their moral responsibility. Well, one former sub-postmaster who's yet to see a penny in compensation is Vipin Patel, who was wrongly convicted of stealing £34,000. That's not all that he put into post office accounts. Vipin and his son Varchas say they were amazed to hear the post office boss offer to meet victims because they asked for a meeting nearly a year ago and have heard absolutely nothing. Well, look, a very good morning to you. Vipin, just tell us how you feel you've been treated by the post office so far.
Very badly, extremely shabbily, and the way the post office portrays itself as a great institution, and I cherished working for them for so many years, has really let me down, and it's really let our family down, our lives down, and the impact has been disastrous and catastrophic on our lives. We've lost all our savings, and we still have to keep working to carry on with our lives.
Back in 2010, there was an audit at your post office. You were found, and it was found that £34,000 was missing. You'd put in altogether £77,000 of your own money to cover missing money. But even so, the post office decided that you were guilty. You were terrified of being sent to prison, so you pled guilty, and you were given an 18-week suspended prison sentence. What happened in the wake of that? How were you treated by the local community because of that investigation and conviction and sentence?
Some of the local community were really nasty to us. They wanted to drive us out of the village because post office at the time was a very emotional issue for most of the people. But we also had a loyal clientele who supported us. But our main concern at the time was apathy and insults and profanities directed towards us by some of the locals, which put us in a panic mode and a sort of danger mode. So every day was a new beginning, and facing another day was a nightmare. We've come through it, but it has been one of the most difficult experiences of my life.
I can imagine.
Because if you're not respected where you live, and if I've once been a respected person and suddenly my status goes down, it becomes very difficult to look someone in the eye. And they are probably thinking all the time, I'm a thief or a fraudster or whatever. It's very difficult to live a life like that, and that carried on for a long time.
Goodness me. Varchas, it must be so hard to hear your father talking, but also for your whole family to have experienced this kind of terrible treatment, but this injustice. Can I just ask you, because yesterday we had Nick Reid, the chief executive of the post office, offering to meet people, to reassure him, to speed up compensation, to provide redress. But I think you were a bit surprised by that because, was it last year you had a conversation with Mr. Reid?
Yes, you're correct, Ed. So last year, after my father formally rejected the insulting offer by a post office in its mediation, 3 months later, there was a compensation hearing at the post office inquiry. Nick Reid at the time was literally offering an apology to any postmasters or their family members. So I took it as an opportunity to speak to Mr. Reid and tell him, look, your company is treating my father unfairly, which I did. So I went up to the lawyer's desk where Nick Reid was sitting. I think they were a bit shell-shocked that I approached them. And I said to Mr. Reid, we need to speak in private. So we went to a quiet area in the room, and I said to Mr. Reid, I said, look, my father deserves an interim payment. His conviction has been overturned. He's got no stain on his record. The courts have said, you've offered no evidence in court. My father's name's cleared. Why are you treating my father and two others at the time as so-called public interest cases, despite their convictions being quashed? He said to me, oh, Vartez, I'll speak to Herbert Smith Freehills, the lawyers, and get back to you. I waited the entire afternoon, and Mr. Reid ignored me on 2 occasions when I tried to catch his eye.
And you've heard nothing since from Mr. Reid?
Nothing since. Father's had 0 compensation. I've heard nothing from Mr. Reid. There's been no effort from Mr. Reid. So yesterday, when I heard him say in the committee in Parliament that he would offer one-to-ones with postmasters and or their family members, and even give them apologies, well, it's feeble and hollow, because I tried it and it didn't work out for me.
I'm so sorry for what you've been through. Vipin, I just want to finally ask, this drama, Mr. Bates versus the Post Office, seems to have done what years of campaigning, journalism, select committees, and you as individuals have been frustrated hasn't been done so far. How big an impact do you think the drama has had? And it's not really acceptable that it's taken a drama to do that, but how would you describe how things have changed?
Post Office is a very old institution in the hearts and minds of every person, not only in UK, but globally. Post Office started from UK and it's a global institution. So Post Office is very much part of everyday people's lives. And although we have been fighting for so many years and all of our efforts went on deaf ears, but the public outcry over the dramatization of this true story by ITV has brought people into awakening and seeing what an injustice it has been. And so the parliamentarians have responded to that in a very positive way, and I hope they carry on doing that. But it was a brilliant effort where all our efforts failed. A documentary really awakened and enlightened the people into a great miscarriage of justice, which would otherwise not have been portrayed. And now this has become a global coverage. We get news crews from all parts of the world wanting to talk to us about it. So it's not good for British prestige, integrity, and honor abroad. So government needs to put this right behind very fast, very, very fast. It's not good for our international reputation as well, because although other countries may not say anything, they are all watching and be able to do tit for tat when we go and accuse them of something else.
Well said. I mean, it should not have been a drama, dramatising your experience and those of your colleagues, which made MPs sit up and take notice. But thank you very much indeed for talking to us this morning. And I hope, because I know you were offered a settlement, but it came with a gagging order, and frankly, it didn't cover what you'd been through. I hope that settlement comes full and fair immediately. Thank you both very much indeed for talking to us this morning.